Hello and welcome everyone to the third episode of our podcast, but the first episode with a name. Welcome to What Was That? Or we just discussed, depending on the week. We'll add an exclamation at the mark at the end. What was that? Depending on how crazy the week has been. This
We're
week is a
keeping
what was
the
that?
punctuation open-ended.
Yes. This week demands like two question marks and two exclamation marks.
Yeah, it
So
was
I,
fun.
I want to start with an acknowledgement, gratitude to the tech companies who make this all possible. And I would like to say, fuck you all. As I was trying to start this, Riverside, the platform that I use, suddenly has a new interface. I can't find anything. My MacBook is now saying Chrome has turned off reactions. I'm like, what are reactions? But it's giving me a notification that I don't know how to throw away. And my laptop mic refused to work for the first 10 seconds. Thank you for changing everything every 10 seconds because some product manager is like, oh, we need to boost engagement. Fuck you all. Yeah, I'm done ranting.
Good tone to start with.
So, Nitesh, how has life been?
Very quickly, yeah, it was an interesting week. It started with a shit show, and the nice cherry on the shit cake is being processed as we speak. The budget is live at the moment. And as of right now, the markets are not too happy about it, broadly.
I thought the market went up in the morning.
It did, but then she started speaking, so
As no comments. No comments. I'm very open to criticizing foreign firms, but
yeah,
Indian
let's just
politicians
focus
are,
on that.
yeah,
As
I'm
long as
just
we have those blue passports, let's just focus
yes,
on that.
yes,
Take
yes.
it from the top.
What's your first story?
Has to be. It has to be DeepSeek, no?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
DeepSeek changes everything.
How though?
How though? Oh, but this is your story. Then I'll come to that. You start. I've been talking too much.
All right. Mine is decidedly not AI related.
Hmm.
There was a news story in the Times of India, the Bangalore edition, at least a couple of days back, about a fraud that Amazon has uncovered in its own operations. Apparently, this had been going on for 2 years, the investigation. It's not clear how long the fraud itself had been going on. Fascinating stuff, right? I'll just quickly summarize what the article said. Apparently, there is a relay operations center, ROC is what they call it, which I'm thinking is like a GCC Lite, one of those back-end offices that coordinate operations around the globe but are based in India because cheap labor. So these guys were in charge of logistics. They were empowered to move products between, I'm guessing, the fulfillment centers of Amazon, mainly in the US, maybe in other places, that's not too clear. And as part of this management that they were doing, they had the authorization to move empty containers, like, as a means of load balancing. Sorry, is that disturbing the audio? That's my son in the background. It's Saturday
That's
and
fine.
yeah,
That's fine.
sorry.
Such is life.
Yeah, so as part of their routine work, these ROC operators had the authorization to move empty trailers from one fulfillment center to another, probably load balancing, right? Now, after 2 years of investigation, Amazon has uncovered that there was a massive fraud going on, being coordinated from India, where these empty containers, they're called bobtails apparently, were being moved for no reason, just to generate churn and get kickbacks from the transportation service providers, the lorry guys, I'm guessing. So that's pretty routine. I mean, at that scale, there's bound to be some fraud everywhere, right? What fascinated me was one, the size of the fraud. Apparently, Amazon is pegging it at about 102 crores over 2 years, which is all right. Maybe that's a lot. Maybe that's not. I don't know. I have no frame of reference for this. Initially, they thought two people are involved, but ultimately they have filed an FIR against 22 of their own employees. Two things that stood out to me. One, the bribes that were paid were between $5 to $500 per assignment for those who weren't completely, on board, or maybe who were doing this on an ad hoc basis. And then they also had a retainer model of fixed monthly payments of $2,000. But that $5 per assignment number just jumped out to me, that somebody sold out for $5 a consignment.
Tell me more about the retainer model, because that will suddenly get VCs interested. Recurring revenue.
FAS, fraud
Scam
as
as
a
a
service.
service.
Yeah.
Gas.
So that was, bizarre. The second thing, which I don't think these guys realized they were doing, is because they were sitting here, but the bribes were in dollar amounts and being paid by the uh, freight operators in the US, is they probably circumvented FEMA, which is not good. I'm guessing these guys, the lorry guys in the US, paid the bribes in cash to relatives of these guys here. Oh, all these guys were from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, the Telugu belt. Hyderabad, Sangareddy, and Karimnagar in Telangana, and Vizianagaram, East Godavari, and Vishakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh. So predominantly Telugu speaking, with some Odias in the mix for some reason.
Yeah,
So
because
I'm
it makes
guessing,
sense, right? Because the call center scam is primarily a sort of like a North to Central India thing. So these guys need a new scam of their own, right?
no, but what I was getting at was they probably, leverage the diaspora, the massive Telugu diaspora that
Yeah.
is there, to, channel the kickbacks. So I'm guessing some cousin in the US had a knock on the door in the middle of the night and someone handed over a $5 bill, apparently. Uh, and then those guys would probably channel it back here. Uh, and that is money laundering.
Yeah. But then that $5 figure makes sense, right? Because any like maybe larger figures would get caught out.
This was per consignment. I'm hoping they waited for it to, build up before they transferred it. That's how you get to 100 odd crores. So I
Yeah,
thought that
I
was
agree with you that the bizarre part is $5 per consignment because it doesn't compute in my head. Still,
yeah. I mean, if you're selling out,
do you think there's some other angle at the back that this $5 note with the number represents some other hawala happening in the back end? The note is numbered or something, or the number is checked.
you've been watching too many web shows, man.
Because $5 per consignment.
Yeah. And they
I love
probably,
how I started this show with like "fuck you all," and you're like, "Oh, they're circumventing FEMA. That is probably not good." Different levels of diplomacy happening there.
I don't think they realized that they were tripping a pretty serious and pretty high voltage wire. I don't think they realized that. That was funny.
That was funny. $5 per consignment. Wow.
Your turn.
My turn. So I have a theory about bubbles. That bubbles are natural and they're getting faster and faster because of just how the ecosystem works, the VC ecosystem works. And bubbles tend to land in one of three ways. One, the technology just fails. NFTs have failed. Right.
Right.
A lot of the non-Bitcoin crypto universe has failed. Blockchain is a failure. Blockchain is a failure to begin with, even if people are still like, no. You go on LinkedIn, people will still be defending it, but there's no practical use cases for it, except for one or
Right.
two specific, where they're like, we will force blockchain onto it. It's like a solution looking for a problem, right? Or it becomes fairly ubiquitous. Like, remember the 5G race? Oh, China and the US are competing, and okay, 5G is there. It's there, and okay, and therefore the valuations are unjustified again. The things that send PE ratios skyrocketing.
Right.
Or something does become big enough, and then somebody will find a way to just completely bring the cost down dramatically because just there's too much of a gold rush happening for it to not happen, and the bubble collapses again.
Yeah.
So my
Like
theory
you
now
said.
here is that the AI bubble has collapsed. So two things have happened. simultaneously with DeepSeek. One is it has been proven now by many people to be 30x as efficient as OpenAI, as ChatGPT's models. And
Right.
ChatGPT and Anthropic and Perplexity and Google are operating broadly on the same benchmarks in terms of efficiency. They were all within a few months of each other in terms of progress and whatever problems they were solving, and even in terms of efficiency. Now the Chinese model is basically 30x as efficient, and enough people in the West have also proven it. Have tested it out. It's open source.
Right.
The second, so that's the first thing. It is massively much more energy efficient. The second thing is they've open sourced it. And they're just like very open about, okay, here you can see the reasoning as it's happening for all your queries, which OpenAI has never done because they were like, oh, this is proprietary data.
Right.
Like they've based their entire model on stolen copyright, whatever, but copyright violations. But our reasoning model is proprietary data. These
And it
guys are
added
just,
nicely to the mystique also, no?
yeah, of course.
It being a black box. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this suddenly rips it open and says, here,
It
this
rips
is
it
how it
open.
works.
So this is actually, I would think this is an even bigger deal than this week has made it out to be because of these two things. Completely releasing the model into the wild so anybody can do anything. In fact, the first major, and so Perplexity has announced that it is now using DeepSeek. It is now allowing its users to use DeepSeek. And Microsoft, for its own Azure cloud services, where it was introducing a lot of AI, has
Right.
now announced that it will be using DeepSeek. So
Okay.
I think Wednesday, Satya Nadella was like, oh, these guys seem to have stolen a lot of the training model from OpenAI. And the next day, he's like, oh, by the way, here's DeepSeek on top of Azure. And that to me is a very clear sign that the bubble has burst. Because it's open source, it's free, and which brings me back to the point that when democratization actually happens is when the bubble completely bursts, because now a few people can't make money from it.
Right.
So, and it led to a few things, in fact, which we'll come to in stories 2 and 3. But yes, the first point I would like to make is that the AI bubble is on the way to collapse. And Sam Altman, and we'll come to this new thing, that Stargate, that the US has announced, a $500 million AI investment, combining the Saudis, combining the US government, OpenAI, SoftBank, blah, blah, blah. Let's see what happens to that. In fact, that's going to be story 2 for me.
I have no idea about this. So looking
A
forward
lot of
to
activity
learn.
this week.
Yeah. Seriously, it's getting hard to keep up, man. That's nice.
Story 2.
Speaking of bubbles,
Yes.
yes, this is the smoothest segue I've ever done. Some backstory first. Reliance acquired Campa Cola, the brand. Did you have Campa Cola growing up?
Yeah.
Was it a big part of your childhood?
I'm your generation, man.
I know, but then no, I meant that in a geographical sense because
Okay. Yeah, we did, for
I
sure.
I hear the name a lot, and I see people get misty-eyed when, like my brother and sister, get misty-eyed when they heard that Campa Cola is available again. He was really excited to tell me, in fact, that I finally tried Campa Cola, and I have no frame of reference. I have no recollection of having had it. I remember Torino and Gold Spot. Those
Gold
were
Spot,
big
yes.
here.
Torino, I've never heard of.
Yes. It was probably a Bangalore brand. I don't know, but
Gold
Campa.
Spot, I absolutely remember. I even remember the taste. Campa Cola is just a nostalgia thing. I don't even remember what it used to taste like. If I had it right now, I wouldn't know if the formulation is completely changed.
Right.
I'd just be like, reminds me of my youth. Bachpan yaad aa gaya. But no clue what it tasted like.
Yeah. Okay. So Reliance had acquired Campa Cola, and they've followed the RC Cola model of the US, which is we're going to use our distribution muscle and make this as cheap as we can. This is your store brand. This is the entry level cola, and it is actually affecting the sales of Coke and Pepsi in India. And now there are talks of them taking it overseas, which is Cool, I guess. I don't have very strong opinions about cola. But an interesting development this week. Oh, before that, if I ask you, who do
Yeah.
you think has set up a bottling plant? What random celebrity from your childhood or teenage do you think is now setting up a bottling plant or a canning plant, to be more precise, from the
If
Sri
I
Lankan
if I had to
team?
think, no, if I use the logical part of my brain, I would go with maybe Sunil Shetty. If I went absurd, I would say Sonali Bendre.
Mutaya Muralidharan. You remember him?
Oh,
The one
oh,
with
yeah.
the
Yes.
interesting bowling action. Yeah, he's in a second innings a pretty rock star entrepreneur. He set up a pretty sophisticated canning unit. Is that what it's called? Isn't canning meat related? Tuna canning? I don't know.
Yeah.
He makes those. I mean, his factory makes those uh, cola cans, which you're probably sipping now. Could you hold that
I'm
up?
having a Pepsi Black.
It is in a can, right?
It is in a can, yes.
Yeah, so that he set up a manufacturing unit for that and tied up with Reliance. And apparently, they're going to launch a new entry level sports drink called Spinner, which I love the name.
That's a good name. Spinner. Oh, that's a great name.
Yeah, price point $10 for 150 ml, which will be probably the cheapest energy drink or caffeine drink in the world
Wow. So now I
at the
now I
moment.
also get what you meant by smooth segue. Bubbles in that sense. Now I get it. Well played, well played.
I did not line it up like that. That was just serendipity.
Well spun.
Uh, yeah, so Coke has Sting in India, which Ken had done a very alarmist story about kids consuming a lot of caffeine without realizing it, and Sting being the
Hmm.
uh, entry point for that because of how cheap it is. This is cheaper than Sting. So I thought that's really cool. Just the people involved, Mutaya Muralidharan, Spinner, which lovely.
Great name. Great name.
Yeah.
All
And
unhealthy, but yeah, incredibly unhealthy.
yeah, like I said, I don't have very strong opinions on cola, but this is cool. So the present energy drink slash caffeine market, including Red Bull and all of those put together, is about 200 to 50 crores in India. But people are hoping for a geo moment here, that suddenly, because it's so accessible, a lot more people are going to try it. So the companion piece story to this was Hindustan Unilever is going to introduce a premium hydration brand called Liquid IV, which is probably the result of Reliance and Coke saying we want the bottom half of the market. So Unilever
Yeah.
is probably saying we'll take the top half. So you're seeing premiumization play out in real time. Very cool. They're both going after different segments of the market. Both are expanding the market on different ends. Um, Liquid IV, which is Unilever's brand, will be quite
IEY
premium. I
or I
don't.
like
It's a global brand. I don't know what their positioning is like in other countries.
how do you spell it? Like liquid what?
IV, liquid IV,
IV.
like
Oh,
intravenous.
like
Yeah,
intravenous.
yeah.
Oh,
So expect to see that in stores or quick commerce apps around you soon. They'll be doing a test, I'm presuming, but I'm sure there'll be a market. Call anything premium these days, mark up the price, and it
of
becomes
course.
aspirational suddenly.
And sell it on Instagram, target those same top 2%, like one and a half, two
Yeah,
crore
yeah.
people.
The
Yeah, big
ones
enough.
that all the VC funded firms are going after.
Make it look nice,
The
show up on
same.
Shark Tank,
Yeah.
advertise as seen on Shark Tank for the next 1 year.
We should do a Shark Tank episode. Just pick
You
three
watch it.
pitches.
We should do actually.
No,
Yeah, we should.
no, but it is fascinating. I've watched the earlier seasons. I haven't
Hmm.
watched this one. It's really cool. You can see the sharks maturing season by season, the recurring sharks. They're getting more astute. They're asking better questions. It is awesome.
Oh, interesting. I should watch season 4. I sort of gave up mid season 3 because it was just like, हाँ D2C है, हम पैसा डाल देंगे. कुछ
Right.
और है तो नहीं डालेंगे.
And it
किसी
was
और ने
getting a
पैसा
little.
डाला इस valuation पे तो हम आ जाएंगे. Like
Huh.
literally you could see the conversation. You want to be valued at 30 crores? Ha ha ha, what a joke, what a joke. And like 2 minutes later, no, we've already raised money at 30 crores. Okay, I'll come at the same value.
Right.
I should watch it. Maybe it's gotten better then. Yes, yes, interesting.
Yeah, it is. I recommend watching at least random clips on YouTube. Uh, I kind of dropped off in the middle of the last season because it was getting a little KBC-ish with the sob stories and
Yeah.
that's. I don't know if they want to go down that route because if you ask any entrepreneur to talk about their struggles for 5 minutes, they'll get nostalgic. For 15 minutes, they'll probably end up sobbing, right?
They'll manufacture struggles there.
So
Like,
it's a very low hanging fruit. Mat karo. Just keep it about here's what we did. These are the mistakes we made. This is what we learned, and you now get the new improved version 2 or version 20 or whatever. So
in
get on
India,
board.
drama works. Like, we have billionaires who are like 21 hours in a cargo compartment, unnamed billionaires.
Huh?
And his wife is like, when I went to the UK, they didn't even recognize me.
I see your point. I see your point. But I
All
hope
drama chलते हैं.
they resist the temptation. I hope. In vain, probably, but I hope. Because it can be a really good show otherwise. Season 1 was like that, which had some bangers because the sharks were learning in real time what questions to ask. And probably a lot of offers that they made fell through. Maybe they had an anti-portfolio of companies they should have invested in but didn't. And so they took all those learnings into season 2, which was great. But then the producers also realized that their goal is not better funding, it's more views, right? Not better companies. And so you see weird companies getting slots, including one product which deepened navels, if I remember correctly. You'll have to look that up or link it in the show notes.
Navels,
Not the military naval,
not Navy, but
the
navels.
anatomical part.
Wow.
Yeah, it was weird. But it got views. So, that there are bad incentives in place. I don't know. Sorry, that was a completely unplanned segue.
I
Anything
don't
more
have
to add?
I don't have a segue that works, but I am jumping into Stargate, which is
Right.
the announcement earlier this week of the US announcing a $500 million AI thing, investment sort of thing, which involved OpenAI, it involved SoftBank, it involved the Saudis, it involved the US government. Now, interesting in a bunch of ways. One is you can see what everyone's playing to here. It's called Stargate, right? Sam Altman wants the cool nerd cred that
Right.
is now moving away from Elon Musk very rapidly.
Right.
Trump wants a deal. So Sam Altman understands I will give him a deal, I will give him a grand announcement in the first week of his presidency.
Right.
The Saudis have the money and they're like, where to invest it? Right, data is the new oil finally playing out, AI is the new oil. And SoftBank just basically wants hype. He'll just borrow more money. The thing is, a few things. One is, where is the money? $500 million, the math doesn't math up at all. Because OpenAI is broke, completely broke. They're burning through $5-6 billion a year. They were raising money from SoftBank and the Saudis itself.
Right.
This is the last resort of any overhyped, overbubbled startup. Go to SoftBank and go to the Saudis.
Saudis. Right.
They were raising money from there themselves. Now, this one, they're saying they'll put in $19 billion each. SoftBank will put in $19 billion. OpenAI will put in $19 billion. Where will OpenAI get this money from? Probably also from SoftBank. This is
Right.
like the Oyo model playing out internationally now. Because it's
Right.
literally what Oyo was doing. Right.
Correct.
$500 million, the total right now is somewhere around $40 billion is accounted for. The rest is all just out of thin air. And
Right.
1 or 2 days after they announced this is when DeepSeek came into focus,
Right.
which has basically said that, look, none of this is needed. We've already democratized it. And now that it is open and open sourced and so efficient to run, I can run it on my M4 Mac Mini.
Right.
A decent enough model, right? Obviously, the better the computer is going to run it much better.
Mm-hmm.
So even future models, future progress can now be done across the world by anyone and for free.
Mm-hmm.
And people can collaborate into it because now it's fully open sourced. So this $500 million, what happens to that now? Nobody seems to know. And Microsoft 3 days later said that, okay, we're now putting DeepSeek on our own model. So all of that sort of plays into what happens now to a $500 million announcement. And like very interesting questions about this are so much of growth. So many assumptions were made, right, about energy usage. Like Google was talking about bringing back 3 Mile Island,
Right.
right? The move fast and break things tech crowd is talking about nuclear reactors. That's always fun, right? So they're talking about bringing back like coal-fired power plants, like reviving them just because they need all that energy. They're
Right.
talking about setting up plants in Western Europe to power their data centers, all for AI, all assuming that AI will use this much. Nvidia has been trading at, in fact, we'll talk Nvidia and you're the stocks guy, so we'll discuss that separately. But a lot of this energy use has been baked in. A lot of this AI inefficiency or efficiency, whatever, has been baked into the models, into their projections. And now something 30x as efficient comes along.
Hmm.
So it does, in fact, like what all does this change and how nobody actually even knows right now. It's all moving so fast. But and now there are models already. Like Alibaba has announced 2 days ago that they now have a model that is even more advanced than DeepSeek and even more efficient than DeepSeek. Untested, obviously. It has been 2 days. So what happens to all these investments in AI? No clue.
What
happens to
was
this brand announcement?
Stargate's stated purpose? What did they
AI.
set out to achieve?
AI. AI is being shoved down everyone's throat in everything. Like now, Microsoft Word updated on my system 2 days ago, and now there's like Copilot. The cursor is now changed to like ask it something, and I can't disable it, right?
Okay.
Everything is AI for like WhatsApp. Why does WhatsApp have AI? It's all valuation. So basically, the stated purpose is also just mega investments in AI because AI will obviously rule the world. Just assumed.
Right.
Now, Sam Altman on the DeepSeek announcement, he tweeted that, oh, it's great to have some competition. We'll move up some releases. This is quite cool. But honestly, what else can he say? He's also
Right.
probably not a very happy man right now.
And Satya Nadella pulled out Jevons paradox, which was pretty genius branding, to
Yeah.
say, yes, we know we are being disrupted under, but you know what, in the long term, it's going to help all of us get better. And basically,
That's the
please
thing, the
don't
whole
collapse
ecosystem.
my stock price. Please.
No,
It's
but exactly
been
that. All of them are
yesterday.
saying we want to democratize X and we want to democratize Y. The unsaid sentence is I will be the one making money off of that democratization.
Right.
Right. And I will become a monopoly. The whole VC model works like that. I will become a monopoly and I will then raise prices. So democratization is tantamount to me making money from everyone off of that. And when actually someone democratizes something, so yeah, genius branding. That's when prices
So
start collapsing.
the broad pitch of the tech company over the last 20 years has been, let me be your benevolent dictator
Yeah.
because I'm a nice guy.
Yes. Monopolies are good. Like this is Paul Graham has said this. Mark Anderson, the Anderson Horowitz guy, he is not a nice guy, let me just say. Like he tweeted out last week that it is good that AI will lead us to a place where wages will collapse. Like absolutely collapse. It's a good thing. It's a necessary thing for the post-utopian future which AI will run where everybody lives by the riverside and eats gloriously and whatnot. How? Nah,
Did these
we'll get
people
there.
not live through the pandemic?
I feel that everyone's forgotten the lessons of the pandemic very, very quickly.
That was like a test run. No? So if
They're building their
suddenly
bunkers. They're building their bunkers.
everyone stopped making money, then how are you going to support a vast part of the global population? And the answer was, we won't. you're shit out of luck, and
Yeah.
that's it.
I don't think there is any long-term thinking here at play. Let me make my $50 billion, $1 trillion more.
Hmm.
And
Okay,
yeah, that's about that.
and then what? That's it. That's what I don't get. What is the end game? You want to be at the top of this shit pile? Great, lofty goal. Have at it. Now that you're here, now what? You
As of today, as of this recording, Elon Musk has locked thousands of US government employees out of their systems. He's taken over. So what is the end game? I don't think even he knows.
right.
More power, more money. It's a game. Story 3. On that happy note.
You take the lead on this one. Was Nvidia, TSMC, all those
Yeah,
guys?
let's discuss Nvidia and what happens. Now, this is the most valuable tech company for the last year or so. And the guy, he wears his leather jackets. He's a bit of a rock star. He's on camera signing women's boobies. That level of
What?
celebrity. Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
That level of
Please.
celebrity he has achieved.
I can't reconcile the image in my head and that.
He is trying to be that level of rock star. So, sign of a bubble. And now, a lot of this AI hype was baked into their model, into their stock price. Right?
Right.
Everyone needs chips for AI and GPUs. I don't know the math or the science behind this, but yeah, GPUs work much better for AI processing than CPUs do. So Intel is not competitive at all. Nvidia is the guy here. And because AI was so inefficient, any kind of AI processing, it would require thousands and thousands and millions of these GPUs over the years. And Nvidia is the best positioned. So therefore their PE was very high, I think trading at about 60, 65 before last week. Because the future is rosy, the future is bright. So a lot of people are asking like, if DeepSeek has actually democratized AI, whatever that means, if everybody has access, they still need NVIDIA GPUs, right? So why isn't the stock price rising? Why is it crashing? The thing is, the assumptions were that everyone will be using AI for everything, and right now we are all using AI for nothing beyond writing emails and beyond writing, I write some scripts using AI, great. But outside of work, very few people are using AI in their regular life for like more than a couple of tiny things. It's a bit of a hobby project,
So
I would,
far,
so
right?
far.
I'm sure while the propaganda machine has really oversold AI, there are going to be use cases for it that we haven't discovered yet.
I'm assuming. I'm not sure. I'm assuming.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
what you're saying, yes, as of today, it's like a new toy, and we're still figuring out all the things that it can do.
But the thing with hype cycles is it's already priced in that it will happen. Like innovation is basically like, oh, here's a great product. But what's happening is basically, oh, here is a product that will become great.
Right.
And we keep hyping it up till it's priced into our stock price. So hence, like Meta has been trading at a PE of 25, 26 and very, very static over the years, even though it's a money printing machine. Nvidia was at 65 at peak like 2 weeks ago. So now when DeepSeek comes along, even if it makes AI much more popular, it is still basically that much more efficient. So you need fewer GPUs. So therefore the stock price has come down, and will it rise again? I don't know. What are your thoughts here now on Nvidia?
Okay. My frame of reference for NVIDIA is the acquired episode on them, which is excellent, and I highly recommend it. They trace the entire history of the company, and a pattern that they call out rightly is that when gaming was exploding, literally, like you saw a multi-billion dollar industry being born from what was really stayed, and suddenly there was, you need the latest graphics cards and the ray tracing algorithms and all that they have is just generations ahead. So you need the latest greatest GPU for rendering those games. Nvidia properly rode that wave. When it came to crypto, Nvidia properly rode that wave. When it came to AI, Nvidia properly rode that wave. So, just looking back at the stock chart of the last 20 years, every time it felt like this is it for Nvidia, they had a great run, but now they're done. You look back and those were great buying opportunities. This is not a stock recommendation, but I would not bet against Jensen Huang, is all I'm saying. I don't know where he'll go next. I don't think even he knows, but it's too much of a coincidence for somebody to get that lucky thrice.
No, so fair enough. It's basically he perfectly follows the model of basically sell the picks and shovels if somebody is
Right,
going after a gold rush.
right,
And he will find the next cycle also.
exactly. Yeah.
But okay, you're the stocks guy, like trading at a PE of 56, even right now.
Mm-hmm.
What do you make of that? Will it go up to like a 60, 70, 80? Again, obviously not stock recommendations, but
Right.
it is overpriced still, right?
Mm, maybe, but like I said, I wouldn't short it. Not that I can sitting in India, but even if I could, I wouldn't short it. I don't think it's smart to bet against that guy. To root for his failure, there are easier ways to make money.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
It could
don't
be the
don't
next Hindenburg. Go for it.
no thank you. Hindenburg itself is shut.
Yeah.
So I know the mantle is empty, but like I said, blue passport and
Blue passport.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes. That
Uh,
is our third
TSMC
story. Yeah.
TSMC is a much more interesting stock, I think, because it is geopolitical. That's one of the few stocks that is properly actually geopolitical. And so Nvidia is a fabless fab, right? They don't actually manufacture any of their chips. All of that is done by the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, TSMC,
Nvidia
which is
doesn't
in Taiwan.
manufacture its chips.
No, they're a
Well,
fabless fab.
so, okay. If he doesn't manufacture his chips, okay, what does Nvidia manufacture? Give me like a 30-second primer.
They do the design.
Hmm.
They own the IP. They own the architecture. That's it.
Wow.
That's why they have those absurd margins, right? And that's why the stock is priced so high. And that's why they are able to change direction so fast,
Yeah.
catch the next bubble early, and ride it all the way to the top. So there's a whole silicon manufacturing backend, which at the first level you have Nvidia, which designs the chips. Then you have TSMC, which actually manufactures them. Then you have a Dutch company which makes the machines which TSMC uses to manufacture the chips. And all these companies, anyone even tangentially a part of this ecosystem, has seen 100 or 200x rise in their stock prices in the last decade or so.
Yeah.
The picks and shovels. But the lower you go in this ecosystem, the less agile they are. Like the Dutch company suddenly can't start manufacturing a completely different style of machine. Their high valuation is because the next 3 years of production is sold out, or something like that. Same with TSMC. The next 2 or 3 generations of chips already have allocations, which has an Indian connection. There's an Indian company called Itui, which has an NVIDIA Connect, because of which the stock has done a 30-40x in the last 3 years. And since the DeepSeek news, it's been hitting the lower circuit every day. So, it's like the market sees a direct correlation between AI and E2E,
It's also
justified by that.
amazing that, like, bigger picture, something very efficient comes along and the market crashes. Quite amazing at where the
Which,
incentives lie.
yeah, which has always been the case because you had a few people who had cornered the market and then suddenly everybody has it, and it makes sense. It is IBM and Microsoft. It is, what's another example? the camera companies and smartphones.
Yeah.
They- it's a feature of capitalism. One of the few nice things about capitalism. When it works, it's beautiful. You have
Yeah,
people being
capitalism when it works is like, the best stories about capitalism is, look, anyone can do well and become
yeah,
fabulously wealthy. Not everyone can do well.
yeah. And what I like is even the fabulously wealthy, the people who have made it, can always be
Yes.
disrupted.
And that's always fun
So
to watch. Yeah.
yeah,
That's my own.
you have to be on your toes, or you have to keep buying out companies that are even tangentially threatening to be competitors, which is the Zuckerberg model, which we can save for the next episode.
Yes. This is a cover model. Perfect. And that's a good note to sign off on. Thank you, everyone, whoever, for tuning in.
Yes,
And
all
yes,
six of you. Thank you so much.
and we will see you next week with What Is That?
What?